Recently, India gifted Oman 100,000 doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine known as Covishield through its Vaccine Maitri initiative. This, of course, was appreciated greatly by the government of Oman and the Ministry of Health. India has also facilitated the repatriation of Indian expatriates back to India. To talk about this and more, we have the Ambassador of India to Oman, His Excellency Munu Mahavar, joining us on the TASS Morning Show today. Namaste, Your Excellency, and welcome to the TASS Morning Show.
Namaste. Thank you. I'm delighted to join you for this program.
Thank you, sir. First and foremost, we'd like to extend a heartfelt gratitude for all the efforts taken by the Indian Embassy under your leadership in facilitating the supply of the COVID-19 vaccine. I'm sure you and the team are feeling a great sense of pride and joy.
Absolutely. We are really happy that we are able to support the efforts of our close friend and partner, strategic partner, Sultanate of Oman, in their fight against COVID. Vaccine Maitri or vaccine friendship is something which has been launched under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, who had made this commitment at the UN that India's vaccine capacity will be made available to the entire humanity. And in fact, the approach that India has been following in regard to the COVID pandemic is guided by the philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We consider the entire world as one family. And that's why from the very beginning, India has been extending support to its friends and partners. We provided medicines to more than 150 countries. Our medical professionals were at the forefront of a global fight against pandemic, and now we are supplying vaccines. So really, we are happy that we are able to support our friends and partners, and we are very happy that our gesture has been welcomed, appreciated by the leadership and people of Oman.
We know that the Indian Embassy has been pivotal, has played a pivotal role in the repatriation of expatriates through the Vande Bharat mission, as well as through the expatriate exit scheme. Your Excellency, could you give us the latest figures as to how many have availed these facilities and what is the status currently?
So you're right that when we were hit by the pandemic and the air operations were suspended, we had organized special flights under the Vande Bharat mission, and this is the largest ever mission repatriation exercise undertaken by any country at any point of time. From Oman, we were able to repatriate, arrange travel of close to 100,000 Indians until end of September. So from between May to September, about 100,000 Indian nationals traveled back to India. Thereafter, an air bubble has been in place, and that has been working smoothly, and people are able to travel in both directions. And of course, from time to time, since the COVID situation is evolving, governments do place new restrictions. So we also have to keep responding to those changes. But as of now, things are working smoothly, and hopefully resume normal air travel in due course.
That's our hope as well. Now, the Indian government has launched an initiative called Swadesh, which is a skilled workers annual database for employment support to help returning overseas nationals. Your Excellency, could you please help us understand how this will benefit the workforce, the expatriate workforce that has had to leave from Oman and return to India owing to the pandemic?
So, for Government of India, skill development is a top priority. And that is because we have a large workforce, and every year more people are joining this pool. So government has launched various schemes to upskill, to reskill our people, and post-COVID pandemic, providing employment to people returning from abroad was again a major challenge, and therefore government came up with the scheme where Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Ministry of External Affairs, and Ministry of Civil Aviation, they all came together. And the idea is to capture the data of skills available with the returning expatriate community, and then use that skill for the national growth and development. So under this scheme, people can register, give information about the skill set that they have, and then the government shares that with government and private companies, and the workers can be contacted directly. So we are encouraging everyone in Oman who is planning to return to India to also register. There is a portal web form available on the website of National Skill Development Corporation. They can feed the relevant information, and that will help them find employment quickly in India. So that's essentially the objective.
Your Excellency, during the onset of the pandemic, we saw how proactive the Indian Embassy was in providing humanitarian aid to those who had lost their means of livelihood, whether it's food assistance or medical supplies. Currently, what are the challenges plaguing the Indian community, Your Excellency, and how is it being addressed?
So you're right that during the initial months when we were facing a lockdown situation, there were many who were finding it difficult to earn their livelihood, and therefore there was a need to provide support, whether financial support or food support, and we were really able to work very closely with the government of Oman, with our social workers, community representatives, to arrange this kind of support for the community. Now that economic activities have resumed, most of these people are able to earn their livelihood, and therefore direct support is no longer required. But of course, we have a large community here, and from time to time they do require support, more so during the COVID situation. The pandemic is not yet over. We are now able to focus on normal functions of community welfare, and that remains our effort. Of course, there is an amnesty scheme also in force. So some Indian nationals are making use of this opportunity, and the embassy is supporting them in that regard as well.
The Indian Embassy has been working in close coordination with the Board of Directors of Indian schools in Oman. What support is being extended to the community schools here, as well as to the teachers and parents and students, so that quality education doesn't suffer?
So I must say that the Indian schools were able to adapt quickly to the new reality, and really switch effectively to online system. They really ensured that the education process was not disrupted in any way. When we were faced with situation when the students were unable to pay fee, the board and the schools individually really took measures, steps. Fee concessions were introduced. We decided not to increase the fee, which is an annual practice. And then those students whose parents were really facing financial hardship, they could even apply for full exemption. So these measures really helped students continue their studies. Now that economic activities have resumed, the pressure has diminished. And of course, now the schools are preparing to really start in-person education. We don't know when that would be possible. The board is reviewing the situation on a continuous basis, and of course we are in close contact with the government of Oman. But our hope is that at some stage in-person education will resume. I think the exams are going to be conducted in person for some classes. I would say that by and large the Indian schools have been able to manage this very challenging, difficult situation very well.
Now, moving to talk of economic cooperation, which of course is the biggest pillar of strategic partnership between India and Oman. In December 2020, the Oman-India Friendship Association was formed to enhance business-to-business as well as people-to-people ties. Your Excellency, what is the roadmap for the future with regard to the strategic partnership where India and Oman can symbiotically benefit with regard to India's self-reliant mission as well as to enhance Oman's Vision 2040?
So yes, India and Oman enjoy a very vibrant economic partnership. Economic partnership has always been a very strong pillar, a key pillar of our strategic cooperation. And I must say that the COVID pandemic has demonstrated the resilience of India-Oman economic partnership. when supply chains were disrupted, Oman could continue to source essential commodities items from India. And our leadership has remained in close contact. His Majesty and Prime Minister have spoken twice. Our ministers have been in contact. We were able to have in-person visits also, but virtually, of course, we have been having regular high-level meetings. Our Joint Economic Commission meeting also was held virtually, where we reviewed the entire spectrum of our partnership, and we also took a decision to hold these meetings more regularly. As it was mentioned in the last conversation that our leaders had, there is really a high degree of complementarity between our two countries. India can be a strong partner in all priority areas of Oman under Vision 2040, and we see Oman as an important partner in our campaign to become self-reliant. There are several areas in which we can do a lot more. Now that the COVID situation, of course, will continue but can be managed more effectively, our focus again is on enhancing partnership between our two countries, and more importantly, the economic partnership between our two countries. So as embassy, we are maintaining close contact with all stakeholders in Oman, and hopefully we will see our economic partnership grow rapidly in the coming days.
With the mass exodus of skilled labor and with a lot of changes in the labor reform, how do you think this has changed the perspective or outlook of the Indian community towards the Gulf NRI status?
People-to-people contacts have been an important component of our strategic partnership. In fact, the foundation for the strategic partnership is provided by people-to-people contacts, and we really deeply appreciate the hospitality that government of Oman has been providing to Indians in Oman, and the way they took care of the community during the COVID pandemic. We really appreciate that. It is true that some workers have returned. Now, of course, the expatriates are working in Gulf countries to meet the skill that demand that these countries have. And of course, it will have to be a dynamic relationship. We understand the labor reforms that the government of Oman is undertaking, and the idea is to bring in more efficiency to make Oman a knowledge economy. And we do see this as an evolving partnership. India is and will remain in the foreseeable future a really important source for skilled labor. And in areas where there would be a requirement for Oman to have skilled workers, definitely there will be continued opportunities for the Indian skilled labor. So I do see it as a positive relationship, and we of course are also looking at these reform measures from the investment perspective. Oman has been an important destination for Indian companies for investments, and surely as and when the reform measures are completed, the investors will look at Oman as a potential place for investment. There are many areas in which Oman provides comparative advantage, and likewise we expect Omani companies to invest in India, benefit from India's growth. So I do see our economic partnership growing in the coming days.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. It has been an absolute honor to talk to you. Thank you for joining us on the Task Morning Show.
Thank you. It has been a pleasure. Best wishes.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for all the initiatives undertaken by the Indian Embassy for the welfare of the Indian community in Oman.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Now let's take a look at the top story today. The Supreme Committee announced that Oman has suspended entry from 10 countries, including Tanzania, Sierra Leone, Lebanon, Ethiopia, Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Brazil, Sudan, and Guinea. The temporary ban for 15 days is effective from Thursday, February 25th. According to the statement, the committee has also banned nationals transiting through any of these 10 countries. The decision comes after a rise in coronavirus cases, especially with the emergence of mutated strains in many countries. Passengers traveling to India, including children, must now carry a pre-travel negative COVID-19 test report, according to a new guideline issued by the government in a bid to control the spread of mutant strains of the coronavirus. As per the statement, RT-PCR test is now mandatory for all passengers, irrespective of age and gender. Arrival in India without a negative report shall only be allowed for those travelling in the exigency of death in the family. According to a statement by Air India, passengers travelling from Muscat must conduct the PCR test 72 hours before scheduled departure and upload the test results on Air Suvidha portal prior to travel. Thank you for joining us on the TASS Morning Show. Follow the Arabian Stories for the latest updates.